Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name's Andrew, and as I mentioned, this is the second episode of Breaking into Cyber for this year. As I mentioned, this episode and in last, I've mentioned we have a huge jam-packed session with guests such as SANS instructors, CISOs, red teamers, cyber directors, and much more. I am so glad to introduce to the channel tonight not only a UAT room tester for TryHackMe, penetration tester for Rhino Security Labs, content creator and mentor and founder of Hack Smarter IT community. You've probably seen him on many of his live hacking AMA videos on his YouTube channel, Hack Smarter. Let me introduce to you, Tyler Ramsby. Tyler, thank you so much for coming on the channel tonight, man. Really appreciate it.
Dude, it is an honor. Thank you for having me. Super excited to be here.
Is it sometimes like surreal when you get to hear the list of things you've gotten to do, or like, yep, that's me, that's me. Oh my gosh, that's me. It's pretty impressive, man. You are a very busy man. I know your channel. I love watching your videos when you go live on the live root analysis of you hacking and rooting a machine. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's been just crazy, dude. Because I remember when I started even my own YouTube channel, this would have been, gosh, I was just looking 3 years ago, 4 years ago, or at least my first video, and I was just working IT support level 1. And that was my first IT job. So like, I haven't been in IT very long. I've only been in IT for a few years, very much a noob myself. So just the fact that I've had the opportunity to partner with all these different orgs, to make content, to be able to mentor people, and all as a way of giving back to the community. The one thing I try to do that's a little bit differently is all of my content, all of my coaching, all of it's free of charge. I'm not making money off of anyone in the community. I'm working on a course right now that will also be free of charge as a way of giving back to the community. So it's
Awesome.
been amazing. Like, the community has been generous to me. And now that I have landed often people's dream job as a pen tester, I do my best to just give back to the community and help people grow from wherever they're at. So it's been amazing. Yeah.
And that's awesome, Tyler. And that's a huge thing I strive on my channel. Like when it comes to breaking into cyber, like you and I both know, like everyone's path is different. And if you're trying to go the college route or certification route, if you're paying out of pocket for a lot of this stuff, or even trying to learn things out like without any kind of support, it can get very expensive if you can't find all those kind of free resources. And that's one thing, like with TryHackMe, Hack the Box, obviously YouTube, tons of YouTubers create content. It can, you try to find the free stuff, but every now and then you have to dabble into that self-investment, find those training certifications that match the path you want to go down, and kind of bite the bullet. Like I say, it's like, hey, look, if I can land this certification and then land my job, that's 2 hours of work and I've just paid the certification. So, but no, outstanding. So first question I have for you, Tyler, is cybersecurity isn't something many people grow up sometimes thinking about as a career, but it clearly has become your passion. Was there a specific moment or experience that made you realize that this was the field you wanted to kind of dedicate yourself to?
Yeah, for sure. So mine is probably going to be a little bit different. Just like you said, all of us have different journeys. So for me, it goes all the way back to my early days of high school. I think I was like 14, 15 years old. And back then, there was no Try Hack Me. There was no Hack the Box. I'm guessing VulnHub was around. I don't know how old VulnHub is. But the one website that was around that is still around today is hackthisite.org, which is like before the Try Hack Me's and before they Hack the Boxes, and very much had a gray hat mentality. They define ethical hacking as, you can hack anything you want as long as it's for ethical purposes, which that's an interesting definition of what ethical hacking is. But that's how I got my start. There wasn't much for ethical hacking outside of that. So I remember me and my friend Nate, who happens to be a pen tester with me at Rhino where I work now, but we used to pull like all-nighters in school, and we would stay up doing Hack This Site, looking at the different challenges. A lot of them were just web type challenges. And then we'd go to school the next day, and that was our proving grounds, and we would try things out, which is terrible idea. Do not recommend it. But we got to the point, we didn't do anything malicious, but I think the thing we really got in trouble for is like command prompt was disabled. So we used Notepad in order to launch command prompt. So like literally nothing even hackerish, just more curiosity. Can we do it? But at that point in time, we got our computer rights taken away. That was like our
Oh
third
no.
infraction or something, but we were banned from using computers for a year, at least in school. And we're told, like, we were pulled into the office of the superintendent and the school police officer, and they're like, look, if you guys touch computers anymore, we're gonna pursue criminal charges. So we're like, okay, maybe we shouldn't do that. Which I know, like the youngins now, they don't get this, but when I was in school, we didn't all have laptops or iPads. We had a computer lab that we went to. So when we do like PowerPoints, we go to the computer lab. It was super awkward doing like a PowerPoint with a poster board because I wasn't allowed to use a computer. But that was like my first entry into this whole concept of hacking and what it looks like. But I did pursue it as a career. So when I graduated high school, I think I did like one semester doing some network security stuff online, but I also got married at a super young age. So I got married when I was 19 years old and kind of moved out on my own since then. Did some schooling at that point in time, ended up completely changing directions and was in pastoral ministry, believe it or not, for about 10 years. So I
Oh,
have a
cool.
master's of divinity, spent 3 years at seminary studying, Greek, Hebrew, all of that craziness and cramming that into my mind, and did that for about 10 years until the COVID-19 pandemic, which all of us have been affected by in various ways. But during COVID-19, I was just getting burnt out emotionally, honestly, just dealing with people, right? Computers are a little easier than people. I was going through therapy at that time. And alongside of therapy and just asking tough questions about myself, I made the decision that, look, ministry is not healthy for me in this season of life. I need to do something different. And so I changed gears back to what I used to do in high school. I wanted to do ethical hacking type stuff, had no idea how to get there. Started out doing IT support level 1 and kind of hop jobs for a while because my goal was to be a pen tester. And about 2 years into my journey in IT, I landed my job as a pen tester, which is where I'm at now. So I've been in the field 4 years, 2 years as a pen tester. So it's been interesting. I was into it when I was in high school, kind of stepped away from most of my adult life thus far, and then jumped back into it during COVID-19 and somehow social engineer myself to where I'm at now. So still totally a noob, still working on learning things, but that's kind of been my journey in a nutshell.
See, that's so funny because I had no plans of maybe going into IT as initially. Same thing. I got out of high school. I kind of wanted to be a firefighter, law enforcement. Ended up joining the military. Joined as a military police officer. Came back from a deployment, and my buddy's like, "Hey, man, do you want a job doing some IT work? It's pretty easy. It's in office." It was like 2014. It was a basic help desk job with a company called Facil that I don't think it's around anymore. That was contracted through ICE, doing password resets, like basic level tier 1 stuff. And did that for like a year and a half, got onto law enforcement. Fast forward, I did that for 7 years. I get back into IT. And it's just funny because it's just like, same thing. I kind of didn't really have the plan of it getting back into, I'm in deco right now. So I'm doing defensive cyber. But I initially started doing that help desk role, and I'm like, man, like if I really would have just jumped in more and like maybe leaned in a little bit more to it, I feel like I could have kind of gone down that same path. But same thing, just didn't really kind of knew what I wanted to do. Did law enforcement for 7 years, saw the same break of like, hey, this is a great career. I do enjoy it. Comes with its own stresses, obviously. And with my military career, I pivoted over to cyber threat intelligence, which kind of got me really invested into the like CTI, cyber threat intelligence aspect of it when it comes to like doing threat research, looking at CVEs, lining up your MITRE ATT&CK, like vectors for organizations. And that's the same thing that kind of pushed me back into the realm of it. And yeah, same thing of just like breaking into cyber of like, how do I do this? What do I need to do? And asking mentors, jumping on YouTube, like, how do I get into IT? And there's just so many different paths and ways to do it. And it's just like, with someone trying to get into that field or kind of maybe do that career change, it's just like, I want to get into cyber. And it's like, cool. What do you want to do? There's compliance, there's audit, there's GRC, there's red teaming, there's backend, there's DevSec. There's so much to do. And so it's just like, it can be very overwhelming. So, but that's awesome. You found your dream job and you got into that being a pen tester. I know that's many people's like first thought of when they think of like, oh, I want to get into cybersecurity. Like, what are you going to do? I want to be a hacker. I'm like, you can do it, but it's going to take some time and it's going to take some patience and training. So outstanding.
Let me ask you a question because
Yeah,
I think we have
please.
similar backgrounds in this way. One thing that helped me is I thought it was a disadvantage for me to start in IT so late by spending 10 years doing an unrelated field that if I would have just started right away, I'd be a lot further along. But what that did for me is it gave me the ability to communicate, right? I was up in front of people all of the time doing public speaking, doing presentations. And when I shifted into IT, it was like a superpower. It helped me accelerate my career just because I can talk and I can communicate to non-technical people. Because to be honest, I am very much one of those non-technical people, and you can also communicate well too. Have you noticed that to be kind of a superpower in your own journey, or what are your thoughts on that?
You were too funny saying that. So my first job out of law enforcement when I was with the state of Arizona Department of Homeland Security, my state CISO gave me the best comment I think I've ever had when it comes to like that was my first role outside of law enforcement. So it's like I'm learning the job. I'm in the field, and I was probably 3 months in, and I was like wrapping up one of my next reports and kind of giving a back brief. He's like, Andy, I want to let you know something. I'm like, oh man, what's going on? He's like, I want to let you know that you are thriving and you're doing such a good job right now. And
Amazing.
he's like, I think law enforcement officers make the best analysts because you guys are attention to detail, standardized and systematic. So we have a process. And I simply just followed kind of like my own writing standards of like the 5 W's: who, what, when, why, where. So when I would have an incident that I had to investigate, like, hey, on this date, this time, this host, this user did this infraction or this event happened, why it happened, and hey, is this malicious or not? And this is something we need to worry about. And I give him bluff. So bottom line up front, like, hey, sir, this is something that happened this week. We quickly mitigated it. There was no impact. And it's same thing, like you said, right? If you can communicate, and it's those soft skills, having those soft skills are huge in this industry. Because when you go to most IT teams, we're recluses. We don't like to talk to people. We'd like to be left alone, throw our headsets on, toss up the hoodie, and just get our work done. I'm very much an extroverted IT guy, which most of, not all of my managers have loved, especially especially if you're public facing or like client facing, because not only can you kind of do the job, but then you can break down the job to whoever your audience is, whether that's a high level C-suite, like executive saying, hey, what happened? Well, sir, this is what happened. Here's a quick bluff, but hey, in case you'd like more of a technical breakdown, we have all those notes. We can go into the more like binary meat and potatoes of it, but just let us know and we'll kind of go that high level. Or like with my job over in the fintech sector, if I'm talking to a non-tech person and not like a back-end dev, I need to completely change my vocabulary and have that communication to where, hey, can you go to your URL or open up a Google platform? And do you remember searching any type of weird sites? Like maybe you're looking for like Disney.com and you typed in like snizny.con. And it's like, oh yeah, you know what? I think I did. I'm like, okay, perfect. Because maybe on my end, I'm seeing they went to a malicious site on accident and I'm trying to get that mentality like, okay, did they intentionally try to do this? Or can I just see like, maybe there was like a typo and they kind of mistyped something. So, but 100%. So long answer.
Awesome.
Yes. I think getting into IT later down the road and with the career I had previously, I had to talk in front of judges, juries, I had to break down my casework and like put onto a stand, like, which some tech organizations have to do that as well. Like if you have a pen test that happens or a compromise and it goes to court, you have to justify the steps you took, the evidence, how was it obtained? How was it controlled? Was it contaminated? How was it collected? There's copious amounts of pieces that go into that kind of puzzle. So 100%. So, and I like that. Anytime you have a question, I love the back and forth too, because that's fantastic. So my next question for you though, Tyler, is when you think of your career journey, what stands out as the most defining moment or experience you think you've had so far?
It's a good question. My most defining moment or experience, I think all of it would come down to community. So even like the genesis of the Hack Smarter community, the way that we got started is me and my friend Nate, who I already mentioned. We both wanted to get the OSCP, which is, you know, the OffSec flagship certification.
Yep.
We could talk about my thoughts on OffSec later on if we want. But at that point in time, I pictured the OSCP as the greatest hacking certification you can ever get. And we both wanted to do it, but we also had the same issue that I think many people have, that you are motivated for a month, maybe 2 months, but life gets in the way. We both are dads of young kids. Like there's so many other things that allow you to get distracted. And I was like, dude, let's just begin to meet every single week on Monday. And I think we met over Facebook video in the beginning, or maybe Zoom, one of the two. And I said, let's just answer 2 questions. What did we accomplish the past week? What are our learning goals for this upcoming week? And that's what we began doing. And that's how we both got the OSCP and moved into our pen testing roles. But those meetings are what turned into the Hack Smarter community. So I'd have to check Discord right now. I think we're close to like 7,000 members, but that's still the core
That's
of our
awesome.
community. Every Monday night, we still have a weekly goal meeting. Now there's way more than just two of us, but every person answers those two questions. What did you accomplish this past week? What are your learning goals for this upcoming week? So as far as like a pivotal moment for me, it was recognizing the importance of community, especially being someone who is fully remote. Like I wake up, I bring my kids to school, then I kind of stumble down my basement steps half awake and start hacking stuff. So I don't have that much human interaction with other people. But community is so important. When we live in isolation, it's so much easier to become discouraged, to miss the goals that you're aiming for. You don't have anyone around you to encourage you or to hold you accountable to the goals you set for yourself.
Definitely.
So that's been pivotal for me, is having that community, even though it's all online. Like, um, my wife makes fun of me because I have very few in real life friends. My friend Nate, like we went to high school together, so he's like one of my few friends IRL, but all my other friends are online. But I don't think that's bad. Like, the way you pursue community looks different for me. I live in rural South Dakota. There is no DEF CON groups. There is no like hacking groups around here. You mention hacking and people think that you're a criminal. So like I can't pursue that type of community where I live, but the online part of it and online just friendship. Some people call it networking. I like to call it legit friendship, like mutual
Yep.
friendship. That's been a pivotal moment for me. What about you, dude? How has community helped you?
So it's funny you say that, because same thing when it comes to like just knowing people online. I have friends that we literally have met like after like probably being like a part of like 5 to 10 years. I still refer to them like if I ever see them at a convention by their like Discord handle or by their online handle. And it's the
Yeah,
same thing.
amazing.
Like my wife's the same way. There's a lot of similarities here, Tyler, and it cracks me up because like my wife's the same way. She laughs at me like, "What did you do tonight?" I'm like, "Oh, I just jumped on and talked to like my buddy Zerde or like Pebbles 22." They're like, "Who?" I'm like, "Oh, it's just some like my buddies online and stuff that I
Yeah,
get with."
Pebbles
And
22,
it's just
obviously.
like it's just funny, and it's just like same thing. Like we'll get the conferences or cons, and it's just like you get to meet up with those people, and it's kind of cool because it's like when you have such a strong passion for something, you like to surround yourself by like those like-minded or those folks that want to kind of continue on and kind of learn and grow. And I've learned that the more I get to network and kind of, like you said, you want to be held accountable in a sense for your studying. Because same thing, after my buddy's he's trying to get into cybersecurity, and he works 12s right now at his job, just like a Panama schedule. And he's like, dude, like the last thing I want to do when I get home is like open up any computer and try to do any kind of studying. And I kind of really have to kind of not pressure him, but I kind of like try to hold him to the fire. I'm like, hey man, look, like just taking that 30 minutes, like and opening up like Pocket Prep or like
Mm,
Try Hack Me or maybe some flashcards, or he has some Udemy courses he's studying for his CYSA. And I'm like, hey man, just
sure.
take 30 minutes a day or like 15 minutes a day and just do 20 questions or try to do like 2 or 3 videos. And because like obviously he has such a rough schedule where he's like, hey, I get home, I have dinner, I kind of relax for 2 hours and I go to bed so I can at least get like to my 6 hours. I'm like, I totally get it, man. I'm like, he's not married, doesn't have kids. I'm like, bro, you just wait till you throw that to the mix and you're trying to study for a certification.
Yeah, good luck.
Oh, bro. So I was just gone for the last 6 months in Fort Eisenhower in Augusta, Georgia for the military. And I kind of went on a cert binge because I love my family, married, 2 kids, little kids, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. But when I'm home and I try to study, there's constant lovely interruptions. My kids will come in. What are you doing, Dad? Or like, Dad, food. I'm like, oh, cool. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to study. Okay, love you. Like, love you guys too. And I'll get back into a grind. Or then my wife will come in. Hey, can you watch the kids while I run to the store? I'm like, yep, can do. Pause. And there's so much of like, just like, okay, like I want to get some time in, but sometimes it's just hard. But having that community and those folks that you can kind of talk to and get to rebound, like, hey, what did you do this week to kind of better yourself? Or hey, I know you're studying for the X certification. How much studying did you get in this week? It's nice to kind of have that kind of accountability with each other because it keeps you on track, and it also helps that other person like, man, Andy put in like 5 hours this week of studying. I only got 2. I need to try to beat him next week. And it almost comes like a gamified,
Yeah,
many training platforms these days. Like they try to gamify the learning experience, and it's like my buddies and I will do the same thing. I know one week where like, hey man, whoever can put the most questions in on Pocket Prep, loser has to buy like a dinner or something when we go out next for guys' night. or I go hang out, like just like buy an appetizer or something. I lost. I'm like, I had 200 questions. He's like, I got 350. I'm like, I need to step up my game. I'm like, man.
Amazing.
So it's that back and forth and that fun banter slash just accountability, I think, when it comes to having that network, knowing those folks you can kind of talk to, like, hey, I'm stumped on this question or this process that I'm stuck on my training. Can anyone hop in a side channel? 999.9 times out of 10, you drop that in a community you're in, you'll get 3, 5, 10. Hey man, yeah, jump in the general chat real fast, share your screen, let's talk it out. And it's just, it's such a fun, amazing network across such a large, like I know folks in London, Australia, Ireland, Germany, from this whole process of getting to talk to people and kind of hear their journeys. And it's just cool. You get to keep those relationships and you meet them at conferences. And it's just like, it's a blast. It's so much fun.
Absolutely.
Elongated answer, I know, but.
No, that's so good.
All right. So back at you. So I say, I jumped ahead. Okay. So your YouTube channel has a large following. How is your creating content helped you in your cyber career? And would you say you'd recommend others to get involved in the community, or how would you recommend others to get involved in that community for Hack Smarter?
Yeah, it has been huge. And as far as even just YouTube in general, one of the best things you can do is start a YouTube channel. Legit. I know a lot of people do blogs and GitHub, which is good. And the reason they don't do YouTube is because they're not comfortable talking into a microphone while looking at a camera. And that's the exact reason why you should start a YouTube channel. I mean, if you want to be a pen tester, for example, every time I'm done with a pen test, I write a detailed report. So you need writing skills. But after that, I do a debrief with a client where I will jump into a call like this. I'll share my screen. I'll walk the client through the full pen test report, answer any questions they might have, and just the ability to communicate and talk. Live streaming has been amazing. Like live streaming and making videos has been by far the best prep I have done for doing debriefs and talking to clients. But even more than that, the ability that you have to help other people and also to connect with other leaders in the field is huge. For example, when my YouTube channel had, I think, 100 subscribers, nobody knew who I was. I reached out to a guy named John Hammond, right? I followed John and I was like,
Yep.
I should just email him because the worst the dude can tell me is no, or just ignore me, which no big deal. And I reached out and I was like, yo, John, you have no idea who I am. I have like 100 subs on YouTube. I work IT support level 1. I want to be a pen tester someday. Would you give me like 30 minutes of your time to jump on my YouTube channel? Fully expecting him not to get back to me. And to my surprise, he's like, yeah, let's do it. And I was like, no way. Like, first, you actually read my email. Second, you emailed me back. And third, you're willing to do this. So I remember meeting him in the very beginning of my journey, ran into him at DEF CON. He actually recognized me, which is cool. And we've done some other content afterwards as well. Another kind of bigger name in the field is Network Chuck, who I think has probably one of the largest YouTube channels in the space. And kind of similar thing. He saw me speaking at Simply CyberCon, their first event that they had, the virtual event. And he mentioned in the comments saying, hey, I need to talk to this guy during my presentation. I was like, yo, yeah, let's talk. And I couldn't figure out how to get a hold of him. And then later on, I made another video and he commented on one of my videos, like, really enjoyed this. And I was like, yeah, but like, dude, can you respond to me? I don't know how to get a hold of you. And eventually I was able to get a hold of him. And we had like an hour-long just offline conversation, getting to know each other. One of the most genuinely nice people I have met in the field. And then he ended up emailing me and was like, hey, do you want to work on this video with me? So I was able to be featured on his YouTube channel, which once again was huge, just for branding, but also just for networking again and kind of building up that platform, building up that community. And there's countless other people. One of my good mentors, his screen name is Amoeba Man. He's the one at TryHackMe who created the Red Team Capstone, all their AD networks. I have connections with people at Hack the Box, Pwn Labs, the founder over there, Ian. Just a lot of these good friendships that came out of my YouTube channel and just turning on my camera and having the courage and the guts to be like, hey, everyone, and welcome to my live stream. In today's stream, we're going to dive into a random machine. I'm going to look like a fool, but that's okay because I don't care. All of you guys are fools too. You're just not brave enough to share it on camera. And it's been amazing how that little habit of hitting go live or hitting record, which, as you would know, one of the most difficult things to do is simply to hit like start recording.
Yep.
But the simple habit of doing that has helped my career trajectory, but also just helped me network with so many people. I think about DEF CON last year, just walking around Vegas and people being like, yo, are you Tyler? And I'm like, Yeah, like, it's crazy that you actually recognize me, and I'm sure it'll be even more now at this DEF CON and as it grows, but it's just so cool to actually meet real life people who have found my content and my random videos helpful, and to see how it has had an impact on their life, just like so many people have had an impact on my own life. So, long answer as well, YouTube, branding, platform, all that stuff is amazing, and I would just encourage people, if you do pursue a YouTube channel, do it with the focus of giving back to the community, not trying to get rich off the community and being like your typical influencer. I think people
Yeah.
can see that quickly, and I will personally call you out if if you do that. So if you don't want me to call you out, give back to the community and figure out a way that you can help other people from whatever stage in your career that you're in right now.
Yeah, and like you said, I think I've gone live once, and it was straight up like in my hotel room in Georgia just to try it. And I'm like, it was like 2 minutes. I'm like, this is just a test. I wanted to see if this worked. Okay, I'm turning this off now, and I just turned it off. And
Why not more, dude?
I
When's the next live stream?
that's my goal. My goal this year is to knock out a few more live streams this year, and maybe do some more junior easy level try hack me rooms, maybe, or maybe some of the Vuln Hub boxes. As I think some people on my channel, and I think you've briefly talked, like I work in the deco side, but I'm still in that path of like, do I want to go full red team? Like I knocked out the pen test plus via through CompTIA, and OSCP is kind of on the radar, but I really do enjoy the finding of red team. Kind of like, it's almost like, wait a minute, that shouldn't be here. I'm like, who's doing that? I'm like, that's our red team. I know for a fact that's our red team. And then I pull all the IOCs, and then I do our little, for our organization, we do like a deconfliction with our purple team. I'm like, hey, here's how I know this is that red team activity. Blah, 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 blah. Here's all the processes. Here's the IOCs I grabbed. Here's all my evidence. Hey, everybody. As you can see, that's not the end of the video. However, I'm in a different outfit. So silly me having such an amazing talk with Tyler, I somehow noobly hit my spacebar inside my OBS studio and stopped our recording as we talked for probably another good 30 minutes, which we talked more about his course that's now dropped for his hacking fundamentals, introductory to hacking, and some other things that were coming out across his channel. So new part on my mistake, however, does make it possible for maybe a part 2 with Tyler as soon as I can pull him back from his busy schedule to get back on the channel. So really appreciate you guys checking out the video, though. Had a blast talking with Tyler. If you've not checked out his content before, please do on his channel, on the new site and website for his training site. And just on LinkedIn, hit him up. Super reachable. Check out his live streams and videos as he goes live, and had a ton of fun talking with him. And yeah, I will catch you guys on the next video. Have a few, 3 or 4 more planned out here in the next month. So very excited. And yeah, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Keep hacking.